All right, hello and welcome. This is the first episode of what we for now are calling the Disney culture, just another way to rip off the Extraordinary Culture name, basically is what it is, and throw Disney in there too. This is Dan from the Extraordinary Culture podcast. I have today with me Anthony, who's been on Kayfabe Culture, I think every episode. Actually, now I think about it. I think every episode.
I have been on every episode.
And, but then also a friend of mine, Gina, who's going to talk about Downtown Disney, and then just throw in whatever you want. Honestly, Gina. Like these are just all discussion stuff anyway. So no, none of this is whatever. So we decided to do this because, Anthony and I have been Disney pass holders for a long time. I think I am going on near, if not past 20 years. I think he's even longer than that, off and on, for longer than that. Yeah, off and on for longer than that. And then Gina spent her quarantine time watching a bunch of YouTubers reopen Walt Disney World and just what's going on, and has actually been to Downtown Disney a couple of times. So that's kind of what we were interested in, what she had to say too. So we're just going to go back. Our tagline for, I think this podcast, which will come out infrequently. I think it's just when there's stuff going on that we want to talk about, as long as the shutdown remains, which we'll get to and talk about in a little bit here, is going to be come along for the ride, because I just thought it was funny. It's actually something that I said to my brother when I asked him, hey, you want to do this? He's like, you know what? I'm not sure I can make the time. And I texted him and I was like, well, here's what we're doing. So if you want, come along for the ride. And I was like, hey, that's a cool freaking tagline. Disney ride, come along for the ride. I just thought that was kind of cool.
I get it.
Yeah. Well, you're the one that actually told me that's actually kind of cool. And I was like, yeah, right. Yeah. That actually was just kind of neat. It just came organically.
Incidentally, my pass expired yesterday.
Mine has been, actually, that's kind of where we're going. Mine actually expired I think the middle of August, so it's been about a month. It's not even in my app anymore, but we'll get to that. So
mine's still in the app. In fact, it says 14 days remaining, but it also says expired 10/3/2020.
I'm gonna look now. Now you got me thinking about that.
It depends. Like from what I was listening to, it just depends on which program you have, and then how they're gonna extend it. Disney did it much more. Like they're much more complicated than Knott's. Knott's Berry Farm said, congratulations, you all have passes through next year.
Yeah, because I have a Knott's Pass too, and I was like, oh, well, that's cool. But I have payments. I do payments. So they did the thing where, if you want to keep on, you have to call.
Right.
As opposed to what would be the more logical thing, where it'd be, if you want to cancel, you have to call, because they knew that less people would want to call. So I was like, well, I guess my pass is going to expire then, because I'm not going to call, because I shouldn't have to. Especially when Knott's is over here just saying, well, here's another year. Congratulations.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a sec, actually, because, first of all, I don't have any passes in my app anymore. And I did have I was going to go to Star Wars night for Celebration. Like, during that time, I was actually going to do that. And that's not even in there anymore either. And I think, I don't know. I don't know what happened to that.
Did you get refunded for
that?
What?
I have to check into that. I don't think I did. I think they had technically. I don't think they canceled. I think they're just going to reschedule. I have to find out about that now that I think about it. But you are right. They did. So my passes, I had 3 of them. Mine and my 2 kids. We had this conversation on the other podcast when Anthony does. That my wife just doesn't go as often, so she just decided to let it lapse. And this was a year ago anyway. Just decided, I don't go as often as you do. You guys, why spend the money if I'm not going to go? Okay. So it makes sense to me. So it turns out what I actually did was I outright bought 2 of them. And then I put 1 on payments. And I had forgotten that. So the options were, you had a couple of them. If you had paid in full, they were just going to extend it however long the park had closed. That's what they were doing. So that's where I'm at right now. And I think right now, I would be in the middle of like February or March next year, if it were to open like next week. So I'm going to get probably almost 2 years out of these passes by the time this actually happens. The third one I did put on payments. And I didn't see, because the other 2 were paid off in full, for that third one that was on payments, I thought, why should I let that one expire when the other 2 are going to extend? So I did have to call. I spent 2 hours on the phone doing this. I spent 2 hours on the phone.
Ouch.
So all I did was I called them up, and then I put in my earbuds, and I just did whatever I was doing, just on hold. And they told me, oh, okay. By that point, what they had done was they had suspended payments. The basic plan was they had stopped payments. You could get a refund. Did you get a refund on the rest of it, Anthony?
On the rest of what?
On the rest of what you owed on your pass. Or did they just stop payments and will resume when it opens?
No, they just stopped payments.
Okay, so they stopped payments. They refunded you for a month. and then however much time you had left on it. Oh, you didn't get refunded for the one in March? You should have been refunded for the one in
No,
March.
because of where my my payment was just before the cutoff.
Oh, okay. So they had done that.
So
and
unfortunately, they screwed me out of like half a month.
Yeah, back to the thing though, that the situation with the tickets was very confusing. But that's where mine stand. I stand to have at least. Now, what I don't know, and again, making it more complicated than it needs to be, typical Disney, is I don't know if they're going to give me the entire period of the shutdown or the entire period I had left from the shutdown to when my pass expired, which is that's still 5 months. So I don't know.
But
we'll find out, but it's completely paid for. So
let's just put it this way: Disney's not going to give you anything extra.
I didn't.
They're not
figure
They're
so.
not. That's for sure.
Yeah.
They're not going to give you anything extra. You're going to get exactly what you paid for, and not a day, not an hour, not a minute more than that. If how they're treating their employees is any indication,
Hold on,
jump in the gun.
No, jump in the gun, but no. I fully expect that. I fully expect to get at least the 5 months. But again, even at this point right here, if it were to open in the month of October, I'm not looking until February or March when mine would expire anyway. So I would have gotten almost another year out of the damn thing. Anyway,
I mean, that's fine, because if they opened in October, I wouldn't be going until January.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Not going. I wouldn't try going right away. I don't know if I'm jumping the gun on that conversation, but I'm not looking to go right when they open.
Yeah. Well,
I want to wait and see. I want to let her watch the bloggers go, and then let us know whether it's a big crap fest.
Well, I did that with Knott's.
Yeah.
Like, I did that with Knott's Berry Farm, because Knott's came out with their Taste of Calico, and I didn't go right away. I watched it, and I was like, all right, let's see. And it looked all right. And then when they came out with the Taste of Knott's, I went, and it was great. And so now that they're doing a Taste of Halloween, I'm going twice. But I've already watched a couple vloggers on that, too. And so, like, I felt comfortable going. But when Knott's opened for a Taste of Calico, I was like, nah.
I agree. Yeah, we have tickets for Taste of Ween or whatever it's called for the 19th. So yeah, we were waiting to see how that looked, and then we were like, okay, well, let's finally do it. Let's get over there. The food looks too good to keep passing it up, and yeah,
they did a great job with the food. Like, the food are not tasting portions. Like, the drinks were tasting portions, like the beer and stuff, but the food it was a nice amount of food that you're getting for the $35 or whatever it is. Yeah, right. It was well worth it. And I'm going this Friday. I did hear that it's a little busier, so I don't know if they sold more tickets, like if they increased capacity, or if it's just.
I don't think they increased capacity because they can't. They only have to stick to whatever the capacity that's been set, which has now been, I believe, set at 25%.
Did they expand? Did they expand areas though? Because that
Oh, yeah, from one event to another, they have added more areas.
Well, that increases capacity
almost the whole
automatically.
park now, right?
Yeah, now only part that's not open is over by Berry Tales and, like, that back corner where there's really nothing. But, like, they've opened up more of the park. So, like, a Taste of Calico was really, really small. It was just Calico. And then when I went to a Taste of Knott's, they opened up the boardwalk in Fiesta Village. And now they've opened up Camp Snoopy to do, like, a treat trail. Sort of, like, at night, it's like more of a spooky vibe, but yeah, did
a social distance treat trail.
Yes, yeah. It's a very interesting treat trail. But and when I went, like, I'll be honest with you, I didn't go at night. Like, my husband and I are early goers. We like to go when it opens, and we like to get out of there before people realize that it started. Plus, it was hot, so I don't want to hang out when it's 110. But when we went, it was clean. People were wearing their masks correctly. I'd say almost everyone. Every now and then you'd get somebody who was, like, trying to sneak around a rule, but for the most part, everybody was wearing their masks correctly. Employees were cleaning everything. People were keeping their distance. So I'm interested to see if it's still like that now, because people are getting a little more like now
comfortable.
Yeah, and not only comfortable, people are getting, there's this whole like, well, we're over it. It's like, okay,
Right.
well, you may be over it, but unfortunately, it's not gone yet. So I'm just interested to see what it's going to be like. And we're going later in the day because it's Friday, and I have to work until 2:30 or whatever it is. So we're going to go after that.
Do you?
Well, I got into the.
Well, it depends on our meetings.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Depends who you are too.
Well,
true.
Because they all of the original dates all sold out, and then they added Thursdays, and the day I'm going is one of the Thursdays. And then the Thursdays sold out, and they added Veterans Day.
They added a Wednesday. They added.
They added the Wednesday, and then they added
a Monday.
That's the Veterans Day.
Okay.
Veterans Day. They added Veterans Day, which is the Monday, but that was after the Thursday had already sold out, and about the time they added the Wednesday. So they're basically, it's filling up almost like as if they have haunt, but with just, food. If it's a food haunt. Now, I have a question. Like. What do you think, Dan? Why do you think Disney's not doing something like this, just opening and doing
I think
like a food and wine or or their Halloween? What was the Halloween version of food and wine called? I don't remember. It was something stupid, probably.
Probably. I don't remember acting. You know what? Did they have a name for all that? I know they released a bunch of different stuff, but I don't know if it actually had a proper name, like a food and wine.
I don't remember.
It was just Halloween time with a bunch of stuff. I don't know. I fully expected them to, but I think they were banking on the fact that they were going to reopen because, and we'll get to this here in a little bit too. Bob Iger just resigned from that committee to do all the reopening stuff. I fully thought we were going to see food and wine. I thought we were going to see that in some kind of capacity, spaced out over one, if not both of the parks, and then give that a reason to bring in some more revenue. But I think they really put all their eggs in one basket, so to speak. By
do you think they're Do you think they're in a sense they're too proud to do something half-assed like that?
Yeah, I think
they're
so.
Like, we're Disney. We don't have to stoop to Knott's level.
No.
She's over there nodding because she knows I'm right. So it's one of those. We're not going to stoop to Knott's level. We're opening or we're not opening. We're not half-assing it. Even though they could be making tons of money, they could be giving people jobs. And instead, I know we're not there yet. Instead, they throw Newsom under the bus and they lay off all these people. And I have a lot of thoughts about that. We're not there yet, but yeah. No, definitely. I think it's definitely Disney could be doing it. They just choosing not to because they think that it's beneath them. I think
they have having the whole downtown Disney area. I think gives them something extra in the fact that they have that whole area in downtown Disney that they can use and are making some money from that. We can kind of jump into that too right now.
Then why not? I was gonna say then why not move all the food booths out there, which they've done before? Because remember when they had the Oakens during Christmas that one year they had the Oakens.
Oh yeah, they had a booth
couple
out there.
Years.
They had a couple booths outside.
They had the booths out there when they had they had the skating rink, Olaf's skating rink, and then they had all the booths out there made up to look like Wandering Oakens, and they had them. They've done it out there before. Why not put the booths out there and have a food festival? On downtown Disney, you could give some more people jobs, and you could then they could.
Is it just a matter of cleanliness? If you open the parks, then that means you got even for a food festival, that means you're going to have additional restrooms open, the spacing in the parks. I mean, you got to deal with not the social distancing in the parks, but what people are touching. Does it have to do with any of that? So I don't know. I haven't been to Knott's. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to say you both are very brave for Knott's. I don't have the highest thoughts about Knott's, like at all, as far as the cleanliness and the much different clientele. Go ahead, Gina. You were going to say something.
I worked at Knott's back in the 90s. So, I remember Knott's when it was the Knott family who owned it. And so when Cedar Fair Parks bought it, I was like, well, they kind of went downhill. And that was my opinion on it. But I had Disney passes a long time ago. They just kind of got to the point where they were out of my price range. I lived in Hemet. Then I was getting my Masters. So I just let my husband and I let our Disney passes lapse for a while. And we picked up Knott's ones just to go because they're cheap. They're super cheap. And it was better than I remembered. And so when I did go to Taste of Knots, I was like, all right, well, let's see how it is. And I have to tell you, because I take the coronavirus seriously. You know, my family works for Kaiser, so I get a completely different kind of story from them about what's really happening in the hospitals because they work there. So I was apprehensive, but I felt really good about it. Like they have, it's like they took some of their write-offs and they gave them, like, they redistributed people as park services, because everything was clean, everybody was on it. As soon as you got up from a table, they were cleaning it. And then the people themselves, it's like, we've been shut up for so long. People were really cool about keeping their distance. It's not 100%, but I won't walk into a Walmart, but I have no problem going to downtown Disney. I've been there. I have no problem going to Knott's. And I'll just, like, they take your temperature, which you can say could be safety theater, but they are taking temperatures before you walk in. They are making sure that you have your mask on. Downtown Disney was on it. If somebody didn't have their mask on properly, they were like, excuse me, hi, over the nose.
I've
hi.
seen the videos.
And it's not, again, like, yeah, there's a lot of videos out there where it looks like it is crowded. Like, I'm not going to lie. It was crowded, but I never wasn't able to find space.
The part that bothers me isn't the once you're in there, it's the line, it's what I see of the lines to get in. Like today,
yeah.
Did you see the today? That's what bothers me. It's the not social distancing. It's the big long lines. It's the fact that you have to wait just to get into downtown Disney, and you're gonna wait hours just to get into downtown Disney. And then you still got to do the virtual queue just to get into a damn store.
Well, now Gina's done that.
None of that is worth it.
So Gina's done that. So let's go ahead and you can go over your experience.
So here's the thing. When I went, and I go to things, like I said, I go when they open. So I was there when Downtown Disney opened, and I still waited in a line to get in. And I was by myself. I had nothing else to do that day. So I was like, I'll wait. But the line just to park is ridiculous and out of control to get into the symbol lot. And I have to say that I think that I would probably park somewhere else and just pay. Like, I think you could do it at the city something.
Garden Walk.
The City Walk?
Yeah, Garden Walk.
Yeah, Garden Walk.
Yeah.
You could park over there and you can, buy something over there and walk through the harbor, which is the kind of secret Batcave entrance that nobody uses because it's to walk from Simba to the other one. Yeah, I think it's a 25-minute walk. Well, if I'm waiting an hour and a half to get in, I'm going to walk 25 minutes up the street and try to get in the back way. That's just me. But when I went, it was my first pass and I got in. I did wait in a line. I think it took, I'd say, about a half an hour for me to get into the parking. Once I got in, it was only a 10-minute wait to get in.
Okay, so can we clarify something that real quick? So she sit in the symbol lot, and so Anthony knows this too, and I think I talked to Eugenia about this. So the symbol lot is coming off of, what's the name of that street, Anthony? West?
West.
Yeah, West. So that's a two-lane street. That's a two-lane street. That's already... Go ahead.
The entrance is actually off of Catella.
Yeah, but where do they pull you out? Do they pull you off of Catella? They pull you off of West. Gina, I'm talking to you.
I'm trying to think. I think they pull you off of West because Ball and Catella are parallel,
yes.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So it's West. They're pulling you off of West because it is a two-lane street, and you have to be in the right-hand lane. If you're in the left-hand lane, you're not getting it.
That backs up.
That backs up. The right-hand lane is backed up. I was backed up. I went down West and flipped a U-turn at Ball. I believe it was Ball, and it was still backed up.
Yeah, it usually is.
You're already sitting there. Yeah, you're already sitting in a line down that street.
That is downtown Disney parking, but they've also used that lot as overflow Disney parking when they have to shut off the structure. So it's there. If you've ever been stuck in that line, and I know I have, and I'm sure Anthony has too, if you've ever been stuck in that line in West, that line takes a while to get into because they only handle the one lane of cars. Then you've got everybody trying to cut into the right-hand lane, and they only do, there's only so many ticket booths open in the thing. So it can take a long time. I'm not necessarily saying, because it's that crowded that's the reason, but I know
Oh no,
it's a pain in the butt to park there to begin with.
Yeah, but they're staggering people going in. So it's not even like because they're not charging. So you don't even need a ticket. Like, the ticket booths are open, but they're stopping you. So, like, you pull in, and they're going, okay, one car from this lane, one car from that lane, and then they wait. And then they're like, one car from this lane, one. But that way they're staggering people even in the parking lot. So when you pull into park, it's not like, oh, 100 people just parked and we're all running for the symbol, like, for the entrance. So they're staggering you to come into the parking lot. And then you have to wait, I guess now, I haven't been there since that line has looked astronomically long. Like, I would never wait in a line that long for Downtown Disney. And my issue when I went and waited in line for World of Disney, in the virtual queue, they don't tell you how long it's going to be. So I roll up, and I was like, well, how long do you think? And they're like, well, we don't know. There's no way we could tell, like, we don't know that information. And I'm thinking, it's 2020. How do you not know how long your virtual queue is? But all right, I mean, I'm not going to give the employee a hard time about it. They just work there. So I was like, all right, that's cool. And so I walked around, and it took 2 hours. And then you have to wait in line again.
Yeah.
So you wait in line for the virtual queue, then you get your call back, and then you got to wait in line to get back into the store.
So your wait to go through temp check was only like 10 minutes? When you got there,
it wasn't very long at all.
Okay. So maybe it was a case of those.
It was 10 minutes.
When they first opened, I saw a lot of pictures that were very different. In fact, I know somebody else who went and took some pictures, and they're like, well, perception is literally everything. Because if I take the picture from this angle, note this guy wearing this is what it looks like. But if I take it from this angle, you see them 6 feet apart. Look at the difference. Like, it's not what it appears to be, because this is the same guy. Like, look at what he's wearing or whatever. They were doing that. So then, yeah. No, I'm and I know we had that conversation about they couldn't tell you how long it was going to take you to do it or anything like that, which I find kind of weird, knowing that they have, and I don't think Anthony had a chance to do this, but the queuing system for Rise of the Resistance. That technology exists. It's there. You can do it from the app. The technology exists. You just have to transfer it to the Downtown Disney stuff. So it seems absurd to me that they couldn't tell you, oh, okay, well, your party is, 35, and you can look on the app and say, oh, okay, you're at 15 now, so I'm going to wait a little while. That's absurd to me in general. Anthony, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I was just trying to, I got I get notifications from the Twitter, the Disney Pass holder Twitter, and they send out. Did I just send it
in the chat?
Yeah, in the chat. That's basically, I get that every single, I think, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and some weekdays, and that's pretty much like it happens all day, and they send that out all the time. How the hell do I get back now?
How much? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I have to be honest, unless I was Ubering there, unless I lived a little more local, or I could park somewhere and Uber to the other entrance, and then I was gonna just have dinner, and I know if you have reservations for one of the restaurants, you can tell them, and they'll, let you in or something, but I wouldn't chance it. It just seems, for what Downtown Disney is, it wasn't worth it. And I went one day and it was great. And it was like a weekday, right during the end of July, right when they first opened, mm-hmm. but not right when they opened. And that was perfect. But now it's like people are chomping at the bit and they want any excuse to wear their cute little ears and go walk around in their little mouse clothes. And so now Downtown Disney is becoming the happening place to be. And quite honestly, it's really not worth it, in my opinion.
So it's.
I agree.
And I can't say that I don't. I'd like to see what it looks like and eventually get down there myself just to check it out. But I'd be there first thing in the morning. Early, I would be there first thing in the morning. But they're not helping that by the fact that to make up for lost revenue, they're doing a bunch of stuff. They have a bunch of new merchandise on purpose, partially because I think it was going to be stuff that rolled out in the parks during the season anyway. So you got to move it, and then they're still releasing exclusives. So part of that was the 65th merchandise. That's been a mess, Anthony. I don't think I ever talked to you about that. But the 65th merchandise, they did like a shop pass on Shop Disney, kind of like a fast pass kind of thing. You get in line in a virtual queue kind of thing. Oh, they did that for May the 4th too. So I actually did both. I did the May the 4th thing and got some stuff, and that was a mess because they were trying to figure out their system. It kept booting people out. It would let you fill your card, but then it wouldn't let you pay. It was a complete mess. End of the day later, we ended up getting some stuff, most of what we wanted, because we just happened to catch it when the system went back online, my brother and I. But then for the 65th, they did the same type thing, and that line was all day. I mean, I think he and I both got on, and we just let it sit and do whatever else. I'm not just going to sit there and stare at my computer screen forever. But I think it was a couple of hours as well, doing all that. And then I let mine run, and by the end of the night, I got in. The end of the night, I had gotten in. I tried to get a couple things. Actually, I ended up getting something for Gina about that, and then I got kicked out. And then I got an email the next day or a couple days later that said, "We're sorry. If you still wanted this stuff, we'll still get it to you." So I did. I took advantage of it and got the stuff and did that. Then they released 65th merchandise in the parks. So you get this influx of people who want to go get 65th merchandise in the parks. And then now that it's Halloween time, because think about how far ahead you have to have all this stuff produced, under production. So there's a whole bunch of new Haunted Mansion merchandise, and there's new Oogie Boogie stuff, and I'm sure soon we'll see Christmas stuff as well. But then they even went so far, and Anthony, I want your thoughts on this. They opened ESPN Zone as did you hear about this? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
They opened ESPN Zone as a ticketed event kind of thing. I don't think the tickets cost anything, but it's a special ticketed event, a chance to get exclusive merchandise. There were a couple of Funko Pops that were a little bit more on the expensive side, and most of the other stuff has just been pins. But you had to have wasn't it one of the sippers? I think it was the Castle Sipper or something that they had released. So they're doing that. It's a whole bunch of exclusive merchandise that they're putting there to draw people in. And I don't know if that's the best thing that they should be doing, if it's just adding to all this chaos. I mean, because people are going, and you're seeing all this stuff on eBay all over the place.
I mean, we've talked about this in the past, and we know that most of the people that show up to those things are your merchandise flippers. And unfortunately, that like 3/4 of the people that show up to those things are going to be that. And most of the people that are in downtown Disney and you see waiting in lines at the stores all day are going to be those people, especially early in the morning. I mean, I guess if you want to do anything else in downtown Disney early in the morning, except for stores, that's a good time to go because you know who's going to be there. But, I mean, the whole thing is that I understand that some stuff is dated. Now, you don't want me to get into the fact that I think that having 65th merchandise was stupid and redundant, because then we're just going to get back to a Mickey 90 discussion, and you know how many of those we had, Dan.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is that you have dated merchandise. No matter how you attempt to sell it, if it's done in the parks, it's going to be a big cluster, because if they try to sell it through Shop Disney online, people are going to complain because they can't get it on there, and then other people are going to be complaining that it shouldn't be available on Shop Disney. But then when you try to have it in the parks, people complain because it's too hard to get into the parks and get it. I mean, to me, it's just like anything else. It's like, well, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. I mean, I got some cool, because I already had tickets for Star Wars Celebration, I got some cool Star Wars Celebration swag anyways that I bought. So then all of that, including the awesome broken down AT-AT Tiki punch bowl that I got, trumps all of that stupid stuff that everybody else is going out and standing in lines to get, because I didn't have to stand in line. I didn't have to sit in a queue on my computer for most of the day. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. It's not what I do.
Hey, you didn't get any of that stuff, did you? I'm going to be very angry if you have some of that stuff. You ordered it, right?
What stuff?
The celebration stuff, because I'm supposed to have stuff too. Have heard hide nor hair.
It's supposed to be coming tomorrow.
What?
I have tracking on it. It's my celebration stuff's supposed to be coming tomorrow.
I ordered it when they first released it, when tickets first got released. I have seen nothing.
So, wait, you're talking about the stuff that you ordered along with your original?
Along with my tickets.
I don't know about that stuff.
Never saw it. I have some 40th anniversary Empire shirts, and I think I spent over $100. I need
So
to
you're
look
not
into
talking
that
about
too.
the stuff that they.
The
you're
later
not talking
stuff,
about the
no.
stuff that they. That's what I'm talking about, because I got the AT-AT Punch Bowl. I got the stuffed Tauntaun.
I'm gonna write some angry emails.
You should, because
Strongly worded emails.
Strongly worded
They're
emails.
strongly worded.
Yes.
strongly Karen'd emails.
Yes. Listen here, sir. Let's have a discussion here. No,
I would
I
like
haven't
to
had
speak
that
to your manager.
Yeah. I haven't had a problem logging in and just leaving it, but I'm not of the opinion if I don't get it, it's ruined my life and I'm going to hunt it down on eBay. But if it's all I'm doing is I'm logging in and waiting in a virtual queue, and I'm just sitting there and can go on about the rest of my day, then
trust me, if it's something that I really do want, I will hunt for it on eBay. But no, I mean, obviously I could live without things. I have a lot of things.
Yeah, I do too. I got to find things to do with those things because I have so many things. But we'll figure it out.
Same.
We will figure it out. So what we were talking about making up for lost revenue is what we were kind of talking about with the merchandise and the ESPN.
Real quick, I just wanted to do something else about parking real quick. I wanted to ask her, how has the parking been at Knott's?
The parking at Knott's when I've been there has been fine, but again, I usually tend to go earlier. It's free, and you have to enter.
Okay, that's good.
Off the back. So like, we get off the freeway. We get off the 91 and Beach. We go all the way down Beach to Crescent, and then you make that right, and it's all open. And so they have parking attendants. You can just park for free, and then you just walk right in, because they've shut down the pass-through street. Where
in front of the
drop-off street, in front of the park,
in front of Mrs.
in order to make it, in order to have all that outdoor dining. But now, because Orange County is in the, what are they in, the red tier? No, they're still in the red tier.
Yeah, they haven't made it orange.
They're in the red tier, but they haven't quite made orange yet. But because of the red tier, which we just got into in Riverside, you can have some indoor dining too. So now they're doing indoor and outdoor dining. But yeah, the parking was super easy. It was great.
Where you're
you just don't go.
Go ahead, Anthony.
You just don't go in. You just don't go in the normal entrance, in the normal way, and then go into the road. Okay, so it's the back. What's the back entrance that faces the mall?
Yeah, it's not even that. It's the back entrance that faces like the gas station and the apartment buildings. It's the parking lot for the marketplace parking. You're just entering it from the street where.
Oh, okay.
It's usually an exit only. They usually never have the entrance open, but now the entrance is open.
Okay, so they're not even. It's the parking that's underneath Ghost Rider.
Yes, it's all that parking.
So they're not even using the Independence Hall parking.
Not when I've been there. I don't think they're even using it at night. I think that the employees aren't even parking on Western. The employees are parking by the in the north lot, I think it's called, but the one over by the hotel. So the employees aren't even using the Western lot. So they're not even opening those outer. So however busy it is, it's busy enough to just fill up the parking lots by the Ghost Rider and the apartment and the hotel.
I mean, that's a big parking, but it's not that big. So
it's not Knott's Berry Farm at Haunt, like that's for sure, or Knott's Berry Farm in the summer. Like it's like when I was there, it felt like, I guess, crowded for the times that we're living in, but not crowded by any stretch. Like it was nice.
No.
Well, even if they used the, and I've I've obviously been in Knott's a few times, but even if they needed overflow parking or decided to open something else, you could open the one over by Independence, like Anthony was saying, but because you can come in front of Independence Hall. You don't cut in front of the where that Snoopy store is or where the chicken place is. You don't go in front of any of that. It wouldn't be out of the way, and everybody comes underneath the tunnel under the road right there, so it wouldn't be too crazy. The
problem with Independence Hall is you'd have to have them come in a different place, because if you have that road that's there directly in front of the little road cut off, that's how you get into the Independence Hall parking. Unless you were to have the back gate, which is never open, you could open that one and just let people just drive in. But
No, that's what they're doing by the Ghost Rider. But no, if you wanted, because there is two ways into the Independence Hall parking. The other way is not coming under Knott's. It's going around on Beach Boulevard, but they haven't had to open that. So, and
right.
From what I was seeing, like, even when I was watching some vloggers who went later in the day, they were still parking over by Ghost Rider and the shops and the hotel. So
that's good to know.
The parking has been good. Yeah, the parking's been great there, and it didn't back up. Like, we didn't have issues with backing up.
I would have went and not known that. So thank you very much.
Yeah,
because that's good to know. Because I would have assumed, oh, we're gonna park at Independence Hall, and then I would have assumed that I would have had to pay because I knew they probably wouldn't have honored my pass to let me park for free.
Yeah, all the parking at Knott's is free. And it doesn't even matter if you have a ticketed event. Because, like, I've been to the marketplace and not gone in. I just went to the marketplace. I was looking for something, and you park for free. And it's not like, oh, you park for free if you're only there. Nope, free parking. Knott's is the antithesis of Disney. Like, everything Disney we've talked about, like, Knott's is the opposite of it. And
you know what? To be honest, though, it was already starting to be that before COVID. There was a reason why, and Dan will tell you, I told you, I was going to Knott's more than I was going to Disney already going into this new year, going into 2020. I was already going to Knott's. Once I got my pass, I was already going. And I only got the pass because of the 100th. I was like, oh, it's the 100th. Let me try it out. And then I was even happier when I saw that cool purple pass. It's so awesome. And I was like, okay, this is cool, all the 20th. And they started doing all the pins. And I'm like, dude, this is awesome. And I'm glad that they're still doing the pins because we're still ordering and getting the pins. Yeah, no, I mean, even before everything started with COVID, Knott's was already showing that they can handle certain things 1,000 times better than Disney. I mean, and Dan already knows that I've already talked about how Universal has been handling security better than Disney for years.
Yeah.
For years, and even going back to the fact that they built that big old huge cool metal detector checkpoint at Universal, while Disney is still using the same metal detector checkpoints that they built after 9/11. So that's
I think they've changed those though in downtown Disney. I haven't been there,
now,
but I saw like on somebody they had like the newer, like they have at Disney World.
Yeah, I don't know if Dan had that as something we were going to talk about.
No, but go ahead. No.
Yeah, they've added these new everything's supposed to be touch free now, and it's like, well, finally we can get people to stop fondling our bags so much, because that was obviously a problem and something that we endlessly talked about on Mousepire, was about the endless fondling of the bags. But
and the difference in fondling my bag, who fondles it is very different.
It depends on who fondled it.
Yeah.
Wait, this is supposed to be PG.
They had a dog when I went to downtown Disney.
I've heard about the dogs.
Yeah, they have like a puppy, and it's adorable. It was like really into my bag, and like the handler was looking at me, and I was like, I have snacks, I'm sorry. But it was so cute. I mean, it reminded me of like all the drug dogs at all the schools I've worked in. Yeah. And
that's immediately what my thoughts went. Yeah.
So from what I understand, the dog is I think part 3 of a 3-part now security. You go through a touchless, what even looks like even better metal detectors than what they had before, because they're all the like fancy blue lights and stuff up and down the sides. Unless I saw the video incorrectly. No, she's shaking her head, so yes.
Yeah, and, from what I saw, that's what it was. When I was there, it was just an old school metal detector. But now they have the new one. And I haven't been there since they have the new one, but I've seen all the pictures of it.
And then they have the temperature check. And then they have, I don't know if I'm going in order. The temperature check might be before the metal detector, but
the temperature check was first. But
okay.
It's not, they're supposed to have the new scanner that's all like high tech with the blue lights. Allegedly that's supposed to look at your temperature too. I don't know. That's what I had heard. But when I went in, they had like an employee with one of those touchless thermometers, and they just hold it up to your forehead, and you're fine. And if you're not okay, they actually have a little cool down tent.
I've heard about the cool down tents, yes.
Yeah, they don't just kick you out. You get to go to a cool down tent where you get like ice water and you get to chill for a few minutes and see if your temperature comes down. And then after that, then I walked through the dog. And then after the dog, it was the old school metal detector. But they were still rifling through your bag when I went. And I went, the last time I went was in, what was it, end of August, beginning of September, somewhere in there.
Well, they're supposedly supposed to be totally touchless now.
So Gina sends me videos every now and again that I do end up watching, but she watches way more than she sends. So what are they doing now if they're not fondling my bag? Or are they fondling my bag just a different way?
Well, when these metal detectors are finally like ready to go, because I don't know if they're using them exclusively yet. I've seen them and I know that they're there, but when they're done, you're not supposed to have to touch. Nobody has to touch your stuff. You just walk through and then that's it. They're magical. So
it probably tells you on something whether there's some metals or large metals or anything in your bag or things like that. I mean, at this point, it's like, yeah. The thing that I love the most is how much the new security is just basically exposing how pointless the old security was.
Well, and that's I'm not meaning to get you started, Anthony. I've heard it a million times.
No, you don't have to get me started.
But we would go whenever everybody knows my brother. I go with my brother kind of quite often, and we are known for two things when it comes to metal detectors. Myself and him. Me, sometimes I would forget to change my shoes, and I'd have on my steel-toed Docs. So it's usually at that point that I get flagged, and then it's always like, oh man, it's my shoes. But I have steel-toed Doc Martens. So that's a little bit more understandable. He'd go through, and every now and again it would be his belt. His belt. That's it. A JCPenney belt. Like, that's it. Or my daughter sometimes would get flagged for her, her little studded belt. But like that's a little bit more of an excuse to have the little studded belt versus he just has a plain Dickies belt from like JCPenney. Like, why would that? The sensitivity was far from perfect at all. Anthony knows that we've discussed multiple ways.
Yeah, because then that leads to my most annoyed thing about when that happens, and then that's the flip your belt for me.
Right. Yeah, I've done that a few times. Where I have to flip my belt.
I almost got kicked out because of somebody telling me to flip my belt, and I refused for 5 minutes to do it until supervisor came over and he threatened to have me removed.
Wow.
All over because I wouldn't flip my belt and show him that the backside of my belt had nothing.
That story's funny because I know you. Anybody else be like, he didn't want to flip his belt? I'm like, no, I've met him. Like, he's just going to get into it with security on the principle of the thing of how stupid this is that I actually have to do this.
It was nothing but principle.
Yeah, that's all it is with Anthony is it's principle of the thing. No, you should
the
have this. So I don't have
man.
to do. Yeah, I don't have to do this because this is stupid. Like if you would just set this thing right, it wouldn't go off like it's supposed to. But I can walk in with a knife too because I think I've done that before too. Actually, I'm thinking oh crap.
Well.
But watch out for that razor blade I might have behind my belt.
All right, shifting gears. I just want to get your thoughts on this thing before we talk reopening. Is the Disney Plus decisions? If you haven't heard what Disney Plus is doing, well, they did a couple things. At the early days of quarantine, the Tiger King days, I like to call them, of quarantine.
We were younger.
Yeah,
more naive.
About 5 years ago. About 5 years ago.
It was 84 years ago.
Yeah. It's been 84 years. But Onward, which I actually haven't seen yet. Onward was released on demand for a period.
We were able to see that in the theater, yeah. What day was that? Sorry.
I don't remember what day it was at all, but I know it was very
I could
early
actually,
quarantine.
you know what? I could look into my AMC app and tell you approximately when it was, or I guess I could just Google it.
So it wasn't long. I think it had barely come out. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks at tops. Because I usually go and see them. I usually would hit the movies on a Sunday, and I just hadn't done it. I just hadn't done it yet, and it's one of those other things that I had contemplated. Well, I can go see this film now, and then everything's shut. But it was.
Oh, you know what? I take it back. We didn't go see it in the theater.
Okay.
Because it was March 6th. We saw it the day it came out on Disney Plus.
Then that would have been a week because the shutdown was on the 13th. Everything usually shut down the 13th or that weekend. So it was only.
It was the 6th. Yeah, it was only a week. Yeah.
So then
I remember my mom was able to go see it, but yeah, they're getting it on demand. Only like a couple months later?
No, maybe a couple months later. Way earlier than expected, which is cool. Which is you get your money out of the on-demand service and then put it on Disney Plus for everybody to watch. Like I said, I haven't actually watched it, but we thought that was going to be the way that some of the other films were going to be released, because I'm not going to go over them here necessarily. We have on our one of our other podcasts, but there was a whole slew of films that were slated to be released in that time period that didn't happen. We wanted to see what was going to happen with Mulan, because I believe at the last time I went to Disney before the actual shutdown, they gave me a Mulan button as I was getting on the bus, because they were already starting to promote the film. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. What are they going to do? Are they going to release this the same way they did? Okay, we can't get anything.
Yeah, you showed it to me, and I said, why did they give that out?
Right, they were doing that, and then they released the news that we're going to do this premium service. So I've gone over this on my podcast, but I want to know, kind of Anthony too, and then I don't know if you have Gina, if you have Disney Plus, but what the thoughts were about releasing it the way that they did it. Go ahead.
Real fast, it was Onward was released on Disney Plus April 3rd, so not even a month later.
Okay. So maybe it was like 2 weeks on demand, and then about that, and then on a Disney Plus, which again my kids have seen, but I haven't yet. Need to do that.
Yeah, because it hit on demand March 20th.
Okay.
So it was basically like 3 weeks from theatrical release on demand, and then another 2 weeks or whatever, another week to Disney Plus.
So we thought it would be the same for Mulan, that it would drop on a wide release at Disney Plus, but then they throw that curveball at us that says, okay, well, it's $30 additional to watch this film that will release whenever it did. It's been a little bit of time now, maybe a month or so, and then it will go wide release in December. I think it goes up until December 2nd that it's going to be on the premium for Disney Plus, and then December 3rd it's everywhere. So in that time, we originally thought, because that became a thing, to release films on demand and then to try to make some money off of them, but they were rentals. They were rentals is what they were. You have them for so long. Disney Plus decided to make this one. It is technically a rental, but you can watch it it wasn't. We thought initially it was going to be like 2 days, but it turned out it goes all the way until December. So we were trying to go back and forth and try to figure out, like, is that worth the extra price, knowing that because I got in on the ground floor of Disney Plus, I only pay $7. That's my thoughts too. My thought too is like, no. Why am I going to pay $30 extra to watch this one? How many times am I really going to watch that one film over and over to justify my $30? And then everybody comes back at me.
On your kids.
Everybody comes back at me and says, well, that's what you'd pay at the movies anyway. Yeah, I understand that, but I leave my house to do that. I leave my house to do that. I know I'm going. It is an outing for, I usually take my brother and the kids. So we go and get the popcorn. We go and do all this kind of thing. It's a whole outing and an experience. That's what I'm paying for when I'm paying the price of this movie. Here, I'm turning on my TV.
I don't even want to get into the severe pounding that I want to give to those people who are like, but I pay the same thing at the theater. But you're at the theater.
I don't even go to.
You know how big, unless you have the same size screen in your house as they do at the theater, it's not the same. Just stop saying it's the same, or else I'm gonna pound you. It's like I just got so tired of seeing it, and even people that I knew were saying it. I was like, no, stop saying that. We can't be friends.
Well, my brother
really
did do
it. Movie person. Yeah, see, I'm not a movie person. My husband goes to the movies with his family. Like, usually it's him and his dad going on, like, a man date. Because I can't stand going to the movies. The whole experience. I used to work at one. I was the projectionist. And I didn't like it then. So I'm usually like, yeah, like, I want to watch it at my house. But I'm not paying $30 for, like, a C- movie. So I had already heard about Mulan, the live action. I had already kind of I kind of knew what they were doing. And I'm going to be honest, I have never seen the cartoon version either. It came out at a time where I was like, I know. I was too old for Disney, and I don't have kids, so it was one of those, it slipped through the crack for me.
Wait. Can we back up to the I'm too old for Disney part? Okay, no.
I was for a while.
I don't know you. I don't
like,
know you
too
well
cool.
enough to. I'll let that go because I don't know you that well. So.
Well, there's a point. Like, there was a point where it was like, I'm too old for Disney. Now I'm like 42. Now I'm like, can I go to Disney more? Like, I like Disney. And,
no, I get it.
There's a point. When you're like, I don't know. I guess in my 20s and mostly in my 20s, I just kind of felt.
I've known those people.
Disney. I was one of them.
I couldn't tell you that I was ever one of those people, but there was a period too where it's like, and it was in the Lion King days and stuff like that, where it was just like, even I think the original Toy Story even, where it just was like, no, I just didn't do it because like you had other priorities being a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid. Not that I hated the Disney stuff. I wouldn't be like, oh God, Disney, no. That just wasn't on my radar. The Nightmare Before Christmas was. I promise you, the Nightmare Before Christmas was. That totally was on my radar.
Well, I love Tim Burton. Like, I was a Tim Burton, Danny Elfman fan. Like, I went to see Oingo Boingo. Like, that was something I was interested in. But the whole story of, like, Mulan, it didn't pop up on my radar, and then I never watched it. And I've had a lot of people tell me I should, that I would really like the story, but I hadn't seen the cartoon. So then and we do have Disney Plus, and I'll tell you, we have Disney Plus 100% for The Mandalorian. Because in my house, there was not a question that we weren't going to get Disney Plus for The Mandalorian. So we have it, and I've watched stuff on it. But I'm not paying $30 for Mulan.
No, the extra I wouldn't do either. It's just I saw it as another way to make revenue out of that movie.
I wouldn't pay $30 for Mandalorian. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
So I don't remember watching it. So we're rewatching it. But I don't remember the first time. Allegedly, I was there, but I don't remember it. It's so. I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this.
Not for me. You talking about The Mandalorian?
Right. Yeah, The Mandalorian. All right. I don't have to watch it.
I don't want to get off on a rail, Dan, but real fast. Okay. I agree. I love Star Wars. It's okay. I would rather watch Rebels. Dan laughs because he knows it's true.
It was like I find Disney Plus. I don't know. I don't find myself seeking it out. Like, I'll seek out Netflix. I'll seek out Hulu even. Like, I even like CBS. Like, I'm getting into some of the CBS shows on their on-demand.
Lower Decks is the best thing on TV right now.
100% agree. 100% agree with Lower Decks. It is like, because I was a child of the next generation.
Dan's
out.
I don't watch TV. I don't watch TV that often.
Well, this is
we're not talking TV. This is streaming.
Yeah, no. Okay, no,
it's
don't get me started on that because all the streaming apps, like, I don't do that. So I'll let you two go. Go ahead.
Right.
I have all of them.
And I have to be honest. Like, I watch streaming and I watch YouTube, and then I'll occasionally hit Food Network and HGTV, and that's all I'm watching on satellite or like cable. I'm like, I don't even think I want to have it anymore, because like Disney, if Disney's gonna start putting more out on Disney Plus, and they own everything now, they own Marvel and all that other stuff, then like I'll go to that more. And I don't have an issue if they're going to release something in the theater and then very quickly release it on a streaming for a lower price. So, like, if there was a tier, right? Because, look, economics is economics. Disney made a very, in my opinion, poor choice on laying off 28,000 mostly entertaining and PhotoPass people, which I get why they did PhotoPass. I understand, like, most people just use their cell phones. But they laid off they laid off the orchestra people in Walt Disney World. They lay off a lot of the entertaining people.
We probably weren't there yet, but I don't get. We just totally jumped to another subject.
That's the last section anyway, so it's almost done. We're almost done.
I don't get the thing. I don't get is, unless it was like it's a secret way to get rid of them, is the tenured employees.
Yeah.
I think it was a veiled attempt to for them to finally shed a bunch of tenured employees, because you look at all the people talking about, oh, my mother who worked there for 37 years, I worked there for 16 years, a lot of super tenured people that normally, under normal circumstances with the unions, they would not be able to get rid of under any circumstances as long as they didn't screw up. But now they've been able to get rid of all these tenured people that make more money. So,
well, and we have to, we have to look at things economically. And at the end of the day, Disney is a corporation. It's not Walt in a studio. This isn't 1955. Like, this is a mega corporation.
But Walt's rolling in his grave.
He hates that term. That's why he said he hates that term.
So I've heard. But, people who want to think, and I get it, Disney's a family to a lot of people, and there's so much, and, they become friends with the cast. I get all that. But I also teach economics. And so they're a corporation, and they've got, Disney isn't stupid. And they're using this opportunity as a way to trim some fat that they've been needing to. I don't agree with it. I really was hoping.
This isn't fat they're trimming. This is blubber they're trimming. Well, it's big time.
And I was hoping to hear, oh, we offered Margaret, who's been here for 45 years, a retirement package. But of course they didn't. And all the Disney execs who, quote, took a pay cut, they're back to making their cash.
Yeah, they are.
And they're back to making their money. And I get it. Like, trust me, I get that they're making big decisions and they have degrees and they're very special people. And, Margaret in payroll maybe wasn't, but Margaret in payroll is important. And she needs this job and she's given her life to Disney. So it's like, Disney, I think, is taking advantage of a situation. I don't necessarily blame them. I understand what they're doing. I don't agree with it, but I get it. And I think that if they want to continue to bankroll, then to tie it back to like Disney Plus, they can have, because movie theaters are going bankrupt right now.
Yeah.
We got theaters that aren't going to make it, and especially here in California.
Yeah, Regal just announced today that they're closing all the theaters in the United States. I mean, not closing, but they may end up being closed. And all that because Bond.
I was actually going to bring that up. That's because economically they can't make it right now, so it's easier to shut than be open and be losing money on a daily basis. Not that they're not already anyway, but then you've got people on payroll and you've got operating costs where it's not as high as shut.
Right, and I work for a movie theater, and I'm going to tell you that even though it was a second-run movie theater, it was like more of a mom-and-pop kind of thing. The overhead, like the profit margin on movie theaters is not what people think it is. It's pretty slim. Like movie theaters are not making an obscene amount of money because they have to pay so much money for the licensing, and then you're looking at the employees, the turnover, like how fast they have to clean. We had we had to be in and out of a theater within 5 to 10 minutes, and so it's a very small window, and so I get why Regal's doing it, and it makes sense.
It makes you wonder, and I know this could be a whole nother discussion on another podcast, but it makes you wonder how AMC was even able to do the AMC the A-list. They were even able to afford doing that when they were already had basically seen at that point MoviePass fail, because literally MoviePass had already failed at the point when AMC decided to do A-list. And I don't know if they were already losing money for the whole 2 years or a year and a half that A-list was in existence before COVID hit. But then you could almost guarantee A-list is still going right now, and they're actually getting ready next month. They're going to unpause everybody's accounts. But I can't see them I can't see them keeping people on A-list. You just can't afford it. You have to have people going in and spending full price unless they really think that it's going to get people in to spend money on concessions that they're not selling.
Well, I think that there's a few things. One, corporations can write off those losses. And so it's a really good way to write off a huge chunk of loss while still pulling in people. Also, then the most money they're making, just like theme parks, it's all concession. I know Disney doesn't raise ticket prices because they need to make more money. They're raising ticket prices to try to price people out of going, to limit the people in the park. Because
we know that.
Yeah, Disney.
We've long had that conversation.
It's the people that don't know that are the stupid ones who complain about prices being raised.
Exactly, and so they're
also the same ones who complain about the crowd in the park. So
exactly, and so theme parks, movies, movie theaters, you're making all your money off concessions. So I think with the A-list and those kind of things, it's like maybe a twofold. One, they get to write stuff off as a loss, and two, they get to pull people in, and then people love to think they're getting a deal. If I told you something was $12 plus shipping, or if I told you it was $16, you would give me $16 free shipping. You'd give me $16 for free shipping all day long. And so if you think you're getting a deal, you're going to go for that, even if you're not. And I think that they know that movie companies and stuff, they know that. And I think a lot of people want to get out of their house. And we've hit the point, we're no longer in the young Tiger King days. We're in the raggedy Mad Max version of 2020 where people are wanting to get out and seeing Disney downtown.
We're in the unhinged.
Yeah. Seeing downtown Disney packed, seeing A Taste of Halloween selling out like hotcakes.
Bearded Russell Crowe and
we're like haggard. We're like, take my temperature, give me a mask, I'll do whatever you want. I have to get out of my house. I'm actually at the point. Like, I've hit the point where I'm like, you know what? I'll stay away from people. I'll go find a corner. I have to leave my house for, like, just give me 3 hours where I'm not going to Target. Like, I need to go somewhere else, but I don't want to go to an essential business. But, I would like to see a tiered system. Like, okay, it opens in a movie theater for however much it costs to do that. And then after it leaves the movie theater, you get like Disney Plus, where it's like Disney Plus you got to pay like $10. You get it for 2 weeks or until your kid can't sing the songs anymore, right? And then after that, it maybe goes away or it falls to the last tier, which is, well, it's been 6 months, so you can have it for free now.
But you say that, but that is basically what they're taught. What some people think that might be what we're leading to. We're leading to the. Yeah, and I mean, and if it gets to a point where maybe the movie theaters do end up dying, it may be just straight to that plus format.
That's been a rumor for a while. Yeah, that's been a rumor for a while.
And I did want to get back to real quick talking about Mulan and that plus format, because I want to go back to what was an even bigger release on Disney Plus than anything that people don't really think about it because it's been so long you've already forgotten. Now is Hamilton.
Oh yes.
Because Hamilton, as you know, people forget it by now. It's come out and so long since that came out. That Hamilton was supposed to be in the theaters next year.
Right.
And yet they decided in one of their more gracious acts to release to the plebs, release Hamilton to Disney Plus a full year later. And that was kind of a big deal.
Wasn't that mostly Lin-Manuel Miranda who wanted that?
Well, I think he's
the one that like really pushed for it. Yeah.
Well, number one, there was factors because you can't release a recording of a show that is still currently running on Broadway. It's some sort of licensing or rules to do with Broadway. You can't release a recording of a Broadway show while it's still running on Broadway. It's some sort of agreement or something like that. So that's why Hamilton had to wait until next year. But because of the fact that Broadway was shut down, Lin-Manuel Miranda and probably others just, were like, oh, hey, let's release this. And yeah, I do think it was like a lot of it was probably up to him. And he's like, hey, this is my thing. I may have,
my end.
Yeah,
Sky's falling.
I was like, that didn't sound good. I didn't really care for Hamilton. I know.
I
Okay.
I didn't expect to like it, but I absolutely adore it for some reason. It's just super catchy. If anything, Groff as the king is the best thing that could possibly have happened to me in 2020. Jonathan Groff as the king, just knowing that's what's his name from Frozen is just hilarious.
Yeah, I tried to watch it and I couldn't get into it, so then I had to paint my bathroom. So I listened to the soundtrack, and I have to say I preferred listening to it as a soundtrack rather than watching it. And I don't know what it was about the format. It just didn't speak to me. And I'm a history person. Like, I taught 8th grade U.S. history, which is early U.S. history. I knew the whole story, and I mean, yes, there's creative license, but yes. I mean, I know the basis of it and all of that, and so I was like, man, this should be right up my alley. And then I tried to watch it, and I was like, this sucks.
Yeah,
Why do I hate this?
Now, unfortunately, there is some songs that have more context if you actually see them.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and revisit it.
But it does give you more context to have listened to and enjoy listening to it first, because then when you do see the visual, it will help you with that context, especially if you didn't enjoy it the first time around.
Yeah.
But if anything, between Jonathan Groff as the king, and I just absolutely adore listening to David Diggs.
Okay, can I tell you that I get freaking Jonathan Groff's songs stuck in my head all the time. And I'm not Gina, and I'm
Which
sure
one?
I had a little all of them. I had a little emergency here, so I didn't catch this, but I'm pretty sure Gina said that she didn't take to it the first time and was kind of like, what is this? I gave it a shot. It was actually our pal Diggs, who did tell me, hey man, have you seen this? I was like, man, nah. And he's like, you should check it out. The music is like a little hip hop thing. And I was like, oh, okay. And to be honest with you, I don't know. We were supposed to go see Hamilton with the school. Like, I was actually going to go see Hamilton because we had gotten this thing paid for to go do that. And then about 2 weeks after shutdown is when we were supposed to go see it, which never happened. But I had no idea what it was. I got asked, hey, do you want to go check this out? And I was like, yeah, sure. I mean, that sounds kind of different, you know. I think the only play I've seen is Wicked, but I was like, yeah, okay. I had no idea it was even hip-hop. And that didn't, I don't know, it was different. It was different to me. I thought it was kind of neat. I do need to watch it again. But after watching it the first time, I really was kind of like, this is kind of cool. It's different than I thought it would be.
I think part of my issue is, like, I didn't like Moana either. And I don't like the way he writes music. Like, I think that's what it boiled down to is I don't like Lin-Manuel's version of songs. Like, it does nothing for me. Like, I liked a lot of the other songs that were more traditional, but I was listening to it, I was like, oh, I don't like Moana songs either, and I realized they're written by
So it's him then, it's him.
So it's him that I don't like.
Well, if you really just want to enjoy Lin-Manuel Miranda, then you should just watch all of the Gizmo episodes of DuckTales, because then you just have to listen to him as a voice actor, and he does fine as that.
And you should totally watch Mary Poppins Returns.
Oh, yeah. As Puerto Rican Bert.
Yeah, Puerto Rican Bert. Yeah, that's what he is. Which actually is not a bad film, but I don't think it was a bad film.
I have not seen that one. I should go.
Like
is it on Disney Plus?
I believe it is on Disney Plus, yeah.
I think I should go hook it up. I loved Mary Poppins. Like, I liked the first one.
This is a fair, it's a fair sequel. It was much better than I thought. There's a lot of nods to the original.
I'm not opposed to reimagining.
Oh, no, it's a sequel. It's not a reimagining.
Oh, that's right.
It's a sequel, yeah.
It's an actual sequel, actually based on a couple of the books.
I'll have to go.
But getting back to the Hamilton point, the reason I brought up Hamilton is because it's been brought up by people, I think. But do you think that they would have charged for Hamilton had they known that they could have? Would they have done the same thing with Hamilton that they did with Mulan? And do you think it would have been obviously they would have made tons more money if they had done it? Because there was the hype on Hamilton was super.
It was big. It was very big hype.
It was bigger than Mulan.
I wouldn't have done that either. No, I don't think so. I think they would have had to charge a cheaper price. I think they could have done it, but I think it would have had to have been cheaper because largely,
because it's not new.
It's not new. People had seen it, and I watched it basically off of word of mouth. It wasn't something I was going to watch or was interested in until somebody who I know is like a non-theater person, and just that's not his thing either, was like, it's actually really good. So I was like, and I have a history degree, so you know what I mean. So and I just wasn't into it. So that would have done that. The Mulan thing totally is because they saw that as a blockbuster film, because it would have been in theaters. That would have been a blockbuster movie, completely. A woman, a female lead. You've got that going for you in this day and age. You've got people of color in the cast. It had all the markings for this could be a blockbuster during this time period. Let's, milk this thing for what it's worth.
Unfortunately, though, they did have a lot of negative things going for it, such as the Hong Kong issue, which went against her, and I could go into a whole thing about how people don't understand that if she would have been damned if she had done it. She would have been damned if she didn't say what she said. So she was damned either way, no matter if she would have been. It depends on who she wanted to be damned by, I guess. And then there was the whole issue of the fact that a lot of people were kind of opposed to the fact that that although it was a diverse cast, the writers and some of the behind the scenes were not diverse at all. It was not a diverse director. Just there was a lot of different factors. And then, after it came out that it was verified that there was some propaganda to it, but so it had a lot of things going for it. The biggest being the whole, boycott Mulan movement because of the things the actress said. Those things really, without people even knowing the context of it, that stuff just really spread like wildfire. Basically, how things, basically just like anything else spreads through conservative channels. It was the same thing. So it had a lot of really negative things going for it before it even came out. And otherwise it probably would have done a lot better probably on Disney Plus. I mean, obviously they're never going to give us those numbers, but we know that it didn't do as well as they would have expected. That's why I brought up Hamilton, because I think that Hamilton would have made them a lot more money if they had thought of doing it back then.
Right, but that just wasn't what the setup was. That it was more of let's release this because of we know this isn't going to happen. It's going to be a while.
Right.
It fit with the July 4th kind of theming, a founding father. So let's go for it. Yeah, looking back now, I bet they wish they had done that, because they probably would have made a lot more money based on that. Because if I see Mulan, no. Will I watch it in December? I'll get to it eventually.
Same.
That's the best that I can tell you. I will get to it eventually. Hey, let's go ahead and it's been about an hour and a half. As quick as that's gone, let's go ahead and wrap this up and just kind of what you think about. We've got everything else that's on the list here. We basically touched, and then it was just thoughts anyway. We get to what we get to, and then open discussion. What do we think about reopening? Do we see that soon? I don't even know that I really want to even get into what the plan is supposed to be, because as I understand it, I know I had seen a couple different versions of the plan, most of which fell in line with each other. But as far as I know, we actually were never given these were what the guidelines were going to be at all. So I don't even know that I want to speak to, as Anthony would call it, rumor at all, to say this is what it's going to be. But what do you see as, like, what's it going to take to reopen?
Well, we're in a state where our governor is taking a very, very conservative approach. And regardless of whether or not we agree...
And by conservative, you mean liberal.
Cautious might have been the better word she was looking for.
I do not mean conservative in the political sense.
Yes.
He's being incredibly cautious. And again, there's people who agree or disagree, and that's neither here nor there, because it's not the politics isn't
just on the politics real fast, I just want to say that I commend him for putting the health of the citizens of his state over his own political career, because he has destroyed his political career both ways because of how much he has.
But did he? Because yes, there is this giant recall Newscombs campaign, which makes me laugh every time I read it, and then they can never spell his name right.
Same.
But in the same breath, I just talked about this with my AP GovPo kids. In the same breath, Homie is scoring astronomically high approval ratings.
Yeah,
so
for dealing with this virus.
Yeah.
Well,
so
see, I didn't know that. I thought that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's really high.
You're hearing the vocal minority.
Well, you know how it is. I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm the only one who defends Newsom.
No, there are a lot of people, but they don't.
Media.
Yeah, they don't speak up on social media. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, if you're on social media right now, the right is very, very vocal. Okay, but as I pointed out to the right. Do you remember the guy who ran against Newsom? I guarantee you don't. And one of my social media friends said, no, but I voted for him. And I said, oh, you voted for Cox? Then you were one of the 30%? And she goes, oh, I don't remember that name. And I said, well, then no, you don't know who ran against Newsom. Yeah. You have no idea what you're talking about. So the Republican anti-Newsom people want to run around screaming to recall him. And the last time we recalled a governor, we got the governor, who was probably one of the worst governors we've seen in decades. Thank you, Arnold, for doing nothing except signing my bachelor's degree.
I have his signature on my teaching credential.
Yep, there we go. Got his signature. But anyway, at the end of the day, the right is running around screaming how they hate him and that they want to get back to normal and all of that. And then we're seeing Newsom with some of the highest approval ratings of his career. So I think overwhelmingly people are saying thank you for keeping the health and safety.
Because Newsom's only misstep was AB5.
I think I think that there's been...
That's not his fault, but he didn't know what he was signing.
I think there's been several things. Like, I disagree with him on a lot of things. Coronavirus is not one of them. Like, right. I'm okay with how he's been handling that. Except, now we're hitting a point where we have to start definitely examining, and not saying putting economics above people, except to say people need economics in order to continue to survive. And
if the Congress isn't going to do it, then he has to do it.
Exactly. And so
he has to be Congress.
He does. And this was a point made by a vlogger that I was listening to. And this vlogger had a point. They said, if we can go to a Taste of Halloween, right? And if I can go to Walmart and I can go to these places, why is it that we can't go to Disney fully open? Well, or open to a lower capacity, or not open to a lower capacity. Wear the mask on the ride, and if you don't feel comfortable riding one of the rides because you don't know if the guy in the front row keeps his mask on, then don't ride that. But have the option, because you could still keep the employees safe in the same manner that they're keeping them safe now. And there's a point to that. And I don't think we should say, we shouldn't just be like, go crazy. But I feel that maybe it's time to start looking at reopening. And I saw some of the leaked stuff, and some of that seemed absurd. I just think that Newsom needs to start making some decisions, because the federal government isn't going to do anything. They're just not doing anything right now. And they're not going to do anything for a while.
February at best.
Exactly, because let's face it. Let's say that President Trump is done after his first term. Well, he's lame duck until the end of January, so we're not doing anything until then. And let's say President Trump is elected for a second term. Well, then we're not doing anything to help anyone for 4 years. So at this point, Newsom needs to act now in order to start rescuing a lot of businesses that are just going to have to fold. And a lot of people rely on those businesses. There's a lot of people in California who are working poor. We need to look at what we're doing, and the parks, like, and it's not just the people at the theme park. Like, Anaheim, the city of Anaheim fights with Disney at every chance it gets. And even they were like, please open Disney, please, because all these companies that are surrounding Disney are looking at folding. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, we're just, it's time that people in government are going to have to start looking at some tough decisions. And we've reached 6 going on 7 months now of lockdown, where a lot of people have to, they're really struggling. And then they shut down unemployment for 2 weeks to clear the backlog. So Newsom's going to have to make some decisions, and he's going to have to, yes, do what's right for people, and do what's right for people, both health-wise and financially. And I hate even saying that.
Are we saying reopening then is going to be a mix of it needs to happen for the economy, essentially of a city, but then also for looking at now, not 28,000 in the state, but we'll just use the number 28,000 because that's the number. Disney actually released a number, first of all, which never happens, for 28,000 people. Whether because it's a mix of different departments. It isn't just from the theme parks. It's from Imagineering. No. It is people in Florida. It's a large number.
What I was gonna say that because she was saying something and it made me. But you're talking about the city of Anaheim, and I was gonna jump on that and also say, just a year, just under a year and a half ago, the city of Anaheim was out there saying we don't need Disneyland, literally saying we don't need Disneyland.
We don't need your walkway over harbor. Remember that?
Yeah, we don't need your walkway over harbor. We don't need your new
hotel.
Entertainment district.
Right. Your hotel that moved 500 feet.
Now they're out there on podiums out on Harbor Boulevard screaming about that Disneyland needs to open now. They're screaming at Newsom that they need to open now. And then is now the point when I really get to talk about how much shitty Disneyland was for throwing Newsom under the bus for those 28,000 employees who now there's literally probably people on the internet who think that because of Newsom, the 28,000 people don't have their jobs because Disney didn't even make the point on that release when he threw Newsom under the bus to say that those employees weren't even all at Disneyland. You know what? I bet you there's only like 5,000 of those 28,000 are probably even from Disneyland, if that, because Disneyland itself only has 28,000 employees or under that, right? Is it 25 or something like that?
I don't know, because Disneyland doesn't release numbers.
Yeah, they don't talk about it.
So, I mean, it's it was so, the number of people that actually probably got laid off in that layoff from Disneyland is so small, and then yet, whatever his name, Amato, is out there throwing Newsom, basically telling the press that it's Newsom's fault that all these people have no jobs. That was dirty, super dirty, super dirty. And that was one of the first times in my life I've been so very angry at something Disneyland was done. And even more so than, Bob Chapek. Which you don't even want me to get started on.
No, let's not. We can end that there. I think that, pretty much takes care of everything on our list. You want any final thoughts? Thoughts, Anthony, not rants. He's also known, his nickname is Rant Man. So to Anthony, his nickname is Rant Man because he gets going on a good one, and we just let him. But it's been a while. So I'm taking any final thoughts, and then I'll do the outro, and we will call it.
I think that she's right, Gina's right, that the parks will open soon. We don't know what the disagreement is over the parameters. We don't know why Iger quit Newsom's little task force, whether it's because Iger's being a little jerk about it, or whether Newsom is playing super hardball with the parameters, which I think that's probably what it is, and Iger was just being a little whiny baby, or, I would have expected that out of Chapek, but I wouldn't have expected that out of Iger.
It's a little unusual.
A little unusual. I mean, it's one thing for Iger to go storming out of Trump's little task force that he was in, but it's another thing for him to storm. It makes Iger look bad to leave the task force that's trying to, ensure that the safety of your guests, and it makes you look bad. It makes you look like you don't care about your guests because you already look like you don't care about your employees by the fact that you try to blame it on somebody else. But the park will be open soon. I think that they would love to have the park open for December.
I think that's what we see. I think that's what we see.
I think that they really want to have the park open for December. If the park doesn't open by December, I don't see there's any reason to open the park before April.
Right. We want to take advantage of that Christmas season. I think we see a modified Christmas season. I don't know that we'd see any kind of layover necessarily with Small World or Haunted Mansion, which is still, as far as I know, still under construction because it was supposed to be down for an extended period of time anyway. So we will see. We're going to see delays, of course, in Marvel Campus or whatever that's called. Avengers Campus, or I can't remember what the name of it is. We see things in that. How much you want? Everybody wanted to see the big pumpkin right now on Main Street, but I think we'll see the big tree. I think we've got that coming.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see some decorations in downtown Disney. We already know we're not getting the gingerbread house, which is always in the Grand Californian, which is always something that I actually do like to check out. It'll be modified, but I think just the whole spirit. Honestly, it could be used as tough a year as this has been. It can be a source of good faith and goodwill and just good thoughts and good vibes to see that kind of decor at Christmas. So that's what I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. I would like to see the theme parks open before Thanksgiving. I would love to see them open early November. That way you get that extended Christmas season. And
right.
Like you said, it could be a mixture. Yes, it's goodwill. Like, hey, look at everybody. Like, let's come together safely at 6 feet away with masks, and let's come together and make 2020, like, let's end it on a better note than we've had to deal with. And honestly, I think it would make Newsom look good. I think it wouldn't hurt his image.
Oh, so, it would 100%.
It would make him, because right now there's a lot of Disney people very angry with him, and it would make him look good. So he could look like the savior. Disney can get their Disney knots. They can get some money out of it. People can go back to work. And those of us who've been stuck in our home can figure it out.
What's happening? But you know what? I mean, I do think that Disney has to be open to what happens. I mean, if they can't get an approval for a full park opening by a certain time, then they need to concede and decide to do, some sort of just a food thing for Christmas. Because I mean, if they could save a lot of face if they give in and say, okay, well, we'll do, if we can't get a full park, agree to a full park opening, at least do the food fest, at least bring back Festival of Holidays, and you can even have Festival and Holidays in both parks.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Bring back
and that would sell out.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Would they do a ticketed event?
They would. I think they would have to.
Just because of capacity.
Because of capacity, because that's what Knott's did. Knott's, if you're an AP, you got a couple bucks off. So like for capacity purposes, that's what Knott's. That's how they're capping it. They're only selling X amount of tickets. If you're an AP, you get a few bucks off. Disney would be smart to do that because now they're double dipping.
The problem with that is that we know how the pass holes are. Pass holes are a completely different breed of people from, I'm sure, people that have passes at Knott's. People that have passes at Knott's are already used to having to pay extra to go to things like Haunt and things like that aren't included. Pass holes expect everything to be included. We're the same people that are complaining that there hasn't been an AP party in 6 years. So trust me, I know what it's like to be a pass hole because I am one. But I mean, it's like, if the park opens or if something opens at the park, the pass holders are going to expect to not have to pay, or they're going to.
Unfortunate, isn't it?
Yeah, it is very unfortunate for them. I guess I say them because by the time that happens, I will not be a pass holder anymore, unless of course you guys are right and my pass continues on. But no, I mean, yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see. I mean, it just depends on what. I mean, I don't see Disney wanting to do the. I mean, I don't know. Really hard to say. If they even agree to do something like the food festival, then to decide how to do the ticketing of it is just a whole lot of different variables that there was no way that any of us could predict.
Anthony, you forget the fact that it's a great way to sell us a sip and savor pass.
Well, obviously, I mean, it works for
to knock off a few dollars on a sip and savor pass.
I mean,
that's a great way to do it and say we'll get some extra bucks out of there.
Especially you can sell a sip and savor pass and have less food items on it than Knott's. I mean, that's already what they're doing. So
yeah, that's what's going on there, buddy. So I'm gonna look up something because it's bothering me.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure they're going to start charging money for downtown Disney parking any day now.
Oh, that's
They're
out.
ready
That's
for
out.
it.
It's $25. They've got
Is it now?
They've got self-parking kiosks. No, it hasn't implemented yet. It's still free, but it's set up to do that.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not free at Garden Walk. It does cost money. And then they've had them there for a while, but they do have the kiosks for you to self-pay for some stuff. So it's coming. It's coming. That can only last so long.
That will help with that's going to help with the backup, the capacity, people coming. Maybe you won't go if you have to pay $25.
Well, you said it earlier when you said the price. That's what we know was happening, even with the parking in general when you buy a pass. Well, I have the highest pass on the thing, so it's included in my pass. But that's the only one that does. Everybody else is $25 a shot.
Something that occurred to me too that I'm not sure that how much COVID regulations affect the parking structures, and if they're being told that they can't use parking structures, and that like say only Toy Story lot would be able to be used, obviously that's going to create problems too. Although if you're already limiting the number of guests coming into the park, you should only need Toy Story.
Yeah, you wouldn't go to any other lot. Yeah.
Because, I mean, that has to be something that has to be in the consideration, too, is the fact that they're probably not going to be able to use the parking structures.
Well, at that point, though...
They're shiny, brand-new parking structure.
The problem with Toy Story, though, is you have to transport those people on a bus, and you have to abide by the regulations on the bus, too. Because you're not going to walk out. And in Simba, at least you can walk to downtown Disney.
Right, so that's other things that I hadn't even thought of until just now. I just thought of that. I was like, oh, the parking, that's a whole other thing.
But, people are itching to go to Disney so badly that if you told them that they had to park across town and march in a 6-foot distance single file line through Anaheim to get to the gates, people would probably do it at this point.
Well, I mean, if you've ever...
I've done it. Go ahead, Anthony.
I was just going to say, if you've ever driven through Harbor and Catella on the middle of a day when Disneyland's open, you already know that people do that anyways. When there's no pandemic. So, I mean, I've walked from Toy Story to the park entrance, just because I didn't feel like waiting in line for the bus.
I've walked from Garden Walk to the harbor side. Yeah.
That's not as far of a walk.
No, but it was, I didn't like it.
Oh no, I didn't like it either, but
it wasn't something I wanted to do.
No, it was packed that day.
But I also didn't want to stand in line for the bus. So, I mean, it was like one thing I didn't want to do compared to another thing I didn't want to do. At least one of them I was moving.
All right, let's wrap this bad boy up. So we've got the first episode of Disney Culture. Maybe we can turn this into a recurring thing, just as we're like, hey, there's stuff I want to talk about. Because that's how this started, was Anthony and I were talking, and it was like, dude, we haven't talked about this in 6 months. And there's a lot of news kind of dropping and a bunch of stuff that's actually happened recently. Not as often as it was, but a bunch of information has been dropped. So I'm going to go through our stuff real quick. So give us an email at exocast@yahoo.com. We're on Instagram at exoculture, Facebook at exocult, Twitter at exocultcast. We're now on TikTok. Find us there. Every Saturday we do a Saturday spin. You can get some record that we're into for that week. Usually something different, something kind of cool, because a few of us are vinyl heads. You can listen to us on iHeartRadio, PodOmatic, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. Or just ask your smart home device to play the Extraordinary Culture Podcast. So this will drop. The Extraordinary Culture Podcast drops once a month. New episode has just come out, sweet and dandy. Another one will come out soon, and we probably will have Kayfabe Culture, our other podcast, because this is number 3 sometime soon. So that's it for us here. We'll see you later.
See you real soon.